Luis Alfredo Garavito Cubillos, born January 25, 1957, in Génova, Colombia, was a serial killer known as La Bestia or the Beast, responsible for the rape, torture, and murder of at least 189 boys, mostly aged 8 to 16, between 1992 and 1999 across Colombia and possibly Ecuador. Convicted of 138 murders, he confessed to over 190, with estimates suggesting up to 400 victims. His crimes, marked by sadistic brutality, included mutilation and decapitation. Sentenced to 1,853 years in prison, he died of cancer in 2023. In this documentary, we explore his atrocities through the lens of psychology and psychoanalysis to uncover what drove this monstrous killing spree. Why focus on Luis Garavito? Because his crimes aren't just a body count. They're a horrifying window into a mind twisted by trauma, sadism, and a chilling ability to blend into society. His methodical yet savage approach, targeting vulnerable boys with calculated deception, makes him a prime case for psychological dissection. Imagine this. October 1994, Pereira, Colombia. A 12-year-old street vendor, lured by a kind priest offering candy, follows him to a secluded hillside. Hours later, his body lies in tall grass, wrists bound, throat slit, genitals mutilated, an empty schnapps bottle nearby. This was Garavito's signature: luring, torturing, raping, and killing with surgical precision, often in broad daylight. Over 7 years, he struck in 59 towns, leaving mass graves of tortured boys, their bodies bearing bite marks and signs of prolonged agony. His disguises, monk, vendor, cripple, made him a ghost, evading capture while Colombia drowned in its own violence. This raw, unrelenting horror demands we ask, what kind of mind does this? Let's go back to Génova, Colombia, 1957. Luis Garavito, the eldest of 7, grew up in a world of poverty and pain. His father, a womanizer, was physically abusive, beating his kids and wife. Per Garavito's own claims to investigators, he only spoke to me for work or to yell. Garavito said, describing a father who forced him into labor at age 11, pulling him from school. At Simone Bolivar School, he was nicknamed Garabato for his glasses, bullied relentlessly, and struggled academically. By 5th grade, his father yanked him out to work, crushing any chance at education. Worse, Garavito alleged he was sexually abused at 12 by a family friend, a pharmacist who bit, burned, and cut him, per Wikipedia. A year later, in Trujillo, a neighbor beat and molested him after showing him pornography. These traumas, unaddressed in society torn by la violencia, a civil war that killed thousands, planted seeds of rage. Psychologically, this screams disorganized attachment. A kid with no stable caregiver, beaten and violated, learns the world is a threat. Trauma like this can wire someone to see violence as normal. Forensic psychologist Catherine Ramsland explains. Freud's concept of the death drive fits here, an unconscious urge to destroy, born from pain. Garavito's early animal cruelty, killing and dissecting birds after his abuse, hints at what psychologists call the graduation hypothesis, where small acts of violence escalate. By 14, he was drinking heavily, a habit that fueled his later crimes, with empty schnapps bottles found at crime scenes. His withdrawal and aggression, noted by family, suggest early signs of antisocial personality disorder marked by impulsivity and lack of empathy. What kind of monster kills 200 kids? Garavito's psyche is a textbook case of multiple disorders colliding. Antisocial personality disorder likely dominated, with traits like callousness and manipulation. He was a psychopath, no question. Forensic biologist Dr. Mark Bennick, who interviewed Garavito, told his ability to charm kids with candy or fake priest robes points to psychopathic charisma, a hallmark of SPD. Narcissism also played a role. Keeping victims' photos as trophies in a coded journal of kills shows a grandiose need to relive his power. Add pedophilia, a sexual attraction to prepubescent boys, and sadism, where he derived pleasure from torture, and you've got a lethal mix. He pitted a boy he killed because the kid shared his abuse story, Bennick noted, showing a twisted empathy that fueled his crimes, not stopped them. Psychoanalytically, Garavito's actions scream projection. Jung's shadow concept suggests he unleashes repressed pain, abuse, rejection, powerlessness onto vulnerable boys who mirrored his younger self. His alcoholism, noted in police reports, lowered inhibitions, letting his sadistic impulses run wild. He was drunk during every kill. Prosecutor Alfonso Gomez told The Guardian, linking his binges to violence. Schizophrenia or psychosis, though speculated due to his claim of a demonic voice in 1992, seems unlikely. His meticulous planning disguises, sectorized kill zones, shows an organized mind, not a delusional one. Instead, this voice may reflect dissociation, a coping mechanism where he distanced himself from his acts, blaming an external force. Picture a bustling market in Pereira, 1997. Kids hawking fruit under the morning sun. A kind-faced monk in robes, Garavito, offers a 12-year-old boy a job carrying baskets. The boy, scraping by to feed his family, follows him to a hillside cloaked in tall grass. Hours later, his body lies mangled, wrists bound with nylon, throat slashed, bite marks on his arms, genitals stuffed in his mouth. The bodies showed prolonged torture, Prosecutor Gomez told The Guardian, describing bite marks, anal penetration, and decapitations. Garavito's method was chillingly consistent. Lure boys with candy, money, or drugs, take them to isolated spots, tie them up, rape and torture them, then slit their throats or behead them. Empty schnapps bottles littered the scenes, a grim signature of his drunken rage. One case haunts. February 1998, Pereira. 2 naked boys, 10 and 12, found dead on a hillside, side by side, genitals mutilated. It looked like a satanic ritual. A local cop told All That's Interesting, sparking panic about cults. Garavito's journal, later seized, detailed these kills, with cryptic dates marking his trophies. He struck on weekends when markets teemed with kids, targeting the poorest, street vendors, orphans, addicts. He chose boys no one would miss, Detective Luis Alfredo Perez told El País. In 1994, he stumbled on a mass grave while luring a victim, the stench stopping him mid-act, per a Reddit post. His sloppiness peaked when he fell asleep by a sugarcane PPS body, setting a sugarcane field ablaze, leaving evidence. Garavito's victims, boys aged 6 to 16, mostly 8 to 13, were no accident. They were vulnerable, poor, often homeless or working markets, easy to lure with promises of candy or cash. Psychologically, this reflects victimology, where predators target the powerless. Garavito, abused as a child, likely saw these boys as extensions of his younger self, weak and exploitable. He understood kids' pain, Bennett said, noting Garavito's ability to gain trust by posing as a priest or vendor. Psychoanalytically, Klein's bad object theory applies. Garavito projected his hatred of his own victimhood onto these boys, torturing them to reclaim power. His sadism, biting, cutting, prolonging pain, shows a need to dominate, a reaction to his own powerlessness. His disguises, from monk to cripple, were psychological masks, letting him blend into society while hiding his darkness. Garavito wasn't a shadowy figure. He was a chameleon, a store clerk, street vendor, and drifter. He moved through Colombia's chaos unnoticed. He was soft, mild, friendly to kids, Bennett said, explaining how he gained trust. Yet his alcoholism and temper, noted by co-workers, hinted at his volatility. He lived alone in Bogota, keeping mementos like victims' photos, a narcissistic ritual. His ability to compartmentalize, charming kids by day, killing by night, points to dissociation, a psychological split where he detached from his crimes. He'd drink, kill, then act normal, Gomez said per The Guardian. This duality, common in psychopaths, let him evade suspicion in a country numbed by violence. Garavito's reign ended April 22, 1999, in Villavicencio. A 12-year-old boy escaped his attempted rape, alerting a homeless man and taxi drivers who turned him in, arrested under a false name. He confessed after months, leading police to graves across 59 towns. He knew every site, Gomez told The Guardian. His journal and trophies sealed his fate. Convicted of 138 murders, he got 1,853 years, reduced to 40 under Colombian law, and 22 for cooperation. He died of leukemia in 2023, days before a parole hearing. Leukemia didn't follow Colombia's rules. A Reddit user quipped, noting his death in a prison hospital. Garavito's life is a dark reflection of Nietzsche's will to power, a desperate grab for control through destruction. His 200-plus kills were a twisted rebellion against his own pain, yet each act deepened his isolation. Sartre's existential freedom haunts here. He chose this path, but was it inevitable? His abuse, poverty, and Colombia's violence shaped him, but his meticulous sadism was his own. His death by cancer, just before possible parole, feels like cosmic justice. He became the monster he feared. Bennett mused. His story asks, can a broken child ever escape their scars, or are some doomed to become beasts? Imagine being a mother in Pereira, your son vanishing after selling fruit. Imagine the police finding his body, mutilated, in a ravine. Garavito's crimes left Colombia scarred. Families broken. It still feels like yesterday, an aunt of 2 victims told The Guardian. His 189 confirmed kills, possibly 400, dwarf other killers. His legacy is a warning. Unchecked trauma and societal neglect breed monsters. As you watch, feel the chill of man who walked among us, killing kids in plain sight. Subscribe for more true crime, and tell us, what turned Garavito into La Bestia?